All right, welcome to episode
6.
Is it? It's 6.
This is number 6.
Last one was Cade Robinson, the South African bodybuilder. That was a good podcast.
It was
that
great.
Was fun. Did you have fun?
It was a good time. It's always fun when Cade's around.
Yeah, Cade's a good time. Cade's a good person. As you guys see, this has been posted on the Civitas Instagram page as well as the For Humans full podcast on Spotify and YouTube. And the reason being is this podcast is mainly around the update of what's happening here at Civitas. For anyone that's listening that do not know what Civitas is, it's a barbershop venue / fucking multi-purpose bullshit in Terrigal, New South Wales, in Australia. And we are just updating pretty much our locals and our regulars and that of what's happening with the shop, because there's a bit of confusion right now. So a little bit of backstory for anyone that doesn't know is that the past few months has been a very big struggle for us mentally, I would say physically, but financially, business-wise, everything's been pretty fucked because of COVID and because of a couple of other factors as well, but we're just trying to do the best we possibly can. It kind of feels like right now we're in a bit of a recovering from the fallout of COVID. So we made the decision to sell the business or put the business up for sale. When we put the business up for sale, from today, what date is it today? The 2nd of Feb. We put it up for sale maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. Yep. Yeah, middle of January. And pretty much it was like confirmed. We're like, okay, sweet. We've got a buyer. They're keen. And what we were going to do was move the barbershop here back to where we used to be, called the Private Studio, in Terrigal still, but it's a smaller location. It's a 20 square meter location. Here's 80 square meters. It's quite large here, and we've got a bar at the front. Over there is just would be purely cutting hair. And so we're going to sell this place as a venue, and not to go too much into who was going to buy it, whatever it is. Would have been a really cool thing. It's a local boxing gym on the Central Coast. They were going to use it as a private venue. Then fucking 2 days later, on the 31st of January, everything was going through. We did a contract of sale, everything.
It was literally one last thing left to sign.
One last thing to sign with the lease, right? They're very financially capable of paying the rent here. We, of course, needed a downscale because we were in a position where we just, from the fallout of the whole COVID, getting locked down for 5 months and not being able to trade and just back and forth and losing the passion, not having enough passion for the hospitality side of things, we just decided this would be best for our mental health as well as business-wise. We weren't going to liquidate the company. It just would have been the best move. Then 2 days later, 2 days just prior here, the sale falls through. Fuck me, it was a good time. I had a great time when I heard that what has happened, and I don't want to blame anyone. It's just circumstance. Everyone's running a business here. Everyone needs to make money somehow. The landlords just didn't agree to having a private venue here. They wanted the place to be open at least minimum 4 days a week between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. because it brings traffic to this new building here for the other shops, which I can understand from a business standpoint, but I can also not understand from a fuck me, it's frustrating as fuck, because everything was aligning, the transfer of the liquor license, everything was like A-okay. It was sweet.
Yeah, we ticked all the boxes except for that one final thing, and it was relying on that. And that, to be honest, that kind of seemed like the most simple thing of it all. I mean, like us and the people who were taking over the lease and that sort of thing all were at the point where we were all under the impression that it was done and it was going to move ahead, and that was it.
So the plan was to, go up to Queensland next week. Jacob was going to clean the other shop up with Cody and repaint it. So when I got back on the Friday, Saturday, whatever it is, we'll go over there and just finish it off. And then the week after, open up over there, and then the lease would have been signed and everything would have just been switcherooed. And we would have just been like, okay, sweet, back into cutting hair and just focus on that and focus on this podcast and just not be as stressed. But yeah, and then that fucking happened.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's worth clarifying too. Like when we say that we put everything up for sale, the company of Civitas was not for sale. It was the way that leases work and commercial leases work. You have to either write it out for the remainder of the lease term, or find someone that's willing to accept the same lease conditions and terms that you agreed to, and have them pretty much just take over and write it out for the rest of the duration of the lease. And we were also selling the fit out, so to speak, of the shop. So that way we could kind of screen who was coming in and making sure that we weren't potentially shooting ourselves in the foot. We didn't want to give up on Civitas as a company. That was the last thing we wanted to do. It was solely just as a business decision to try and get us in the best position possible for the remainder of the year without taking a risk in a sketchy way, I suppose. Like being smart with it. Coming out of COVID, we know that as of February, barbering kind of slows down, hospitality is going to slow down, everyone's getting back into their routine, and it doesn't really pick up again until a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So it was just the smart idea. It wasn't really what we wanted to do. Like obviously we have a really cool space here and we really wanted to utilize it and make it work. But in the moment that was kind of our best decision, and Civitas wasn't being sold. It was just kind of removing, and someone else was taking over the space and utilizing the bar and the fit out that we had already put together.
Yes, exactly right. Just before the sale as well, I won't go into much of this detail because, of course, we don't want to get our hopes up or whatever. We just kind of want to roll with the punches. We do have things in play now, of course, that you have to when you're in business. You can't stop. You can't stop, because if you stop, you're just gonna go into further debt. You're gonna go into more stress. So you have to keep trying to find resolutions, even if you are feeling beaten down and all that kind of shit. So hopefully we're going to play out a scenario over the next couple of days from today. By the time this podcast is out, we would have made a decision of what we're doing next. It's either this scenario that we play out where we still keep this shop with some other ideas that we have in play, or if that falls through by the end of the week, if it's not going to happen, we're going to just put the business up, like the shop up for sale again. As a venue, the liquor license is here. So anyone that is listening and that is interested in buying a venue, the liquor license can be transferred over very easily. Purchase of everything in here. It's very high quality. You can use it for you can't use it as a private venue, but you can use it as a venue, coffee shop, all that kind of stuff. So we will just stay here until we sell the business, even if it takes, or sell the shop. So even if it takes 1-2 months, we're going to continue just staying here until we sell it, if this other scenario doesn't work out. I think, yeah, that's pretty much it where we're at the moment. So for anyone that is a bit confused of what we're doing, right, we're going to keep cutting hair. Of course, we've been cutting hair this whole week. Have a couple of days off this coming week, that if you've listened to this podcast, watch this, whatever it is, we'll be back the Friday and the Saturday. And then depending on the scenarios, depending on the scenarios, either way, we're still going to be cutting hair in this shop until something happens.
Yeah, if there is any update in terms of us moving or obviously majority of people aren't aware that this was going on, and there's probably going to be a lot of people that don't see this and just assume that we're still here anyway. So of course we're not going to update anyone if that stays the same. We're always going to be here for the remainder. If things do change, there will be obviously a lot of updates posted through social media. You can obviously chat to us and kind of see what's going on. Yeah. And we'll probably blast text everyone just to make sure that everyone is aware that we do make that move if that's to happen. Yeah. But for the time being, we'll be in here.
The biggest confusion that I didn't want to happen is, are we still cutting hair or are we not starting cutting hair? Regardless of whatever happens, we'll still continue to cut hair in Terrigal. We'll still be continuing to keep cutting hair. We'll have the 4 barbers on here. The only thing that won't be operating in the shop, of course, is the front area. So until the sale or transfer of the lease is final, we will not announce anything. So don't assume that, okay, in a month's time we're still moving. Just wait until we say something or announce whatever we're doing. But in the meantime, of course, still keep coming and get your hair cut. And of course, we'll still continue to do things within the shop. We still want to continue the barbershop regardless. So there'll be still things that we're doing with the barbershop to keep that growing, which will never stop. It's just the whole venue and the whole premise of what we're doing here is it could be this situation that we're going to play out the next couple of days, or it will be that we just sell and move.
Yeah. So they're just coming out of the tail end of COVID and, I mean, obviously restrictions are still in place and coming out of kind of the end of summer, our main focus and priority is obviously just building the barbershop more than anything. And it's really sinking our time and efforts into that and a lot of stuff that's barber related. So regardless of the situation, if we stay here or if we move, the main focus and goal and priority right now is the barbershop and delivering a experience and a lot of experiences around that with community and that sort of thing.
Yeah. We just want to thank everyone that understands and is supporting us during this time. The biggest thing I'm trying to, for myself as a person, is not to blame the outside kind of like world of what's going on, but it is, of course, acceptable and understandable that COVID has, forgive me, fucked us and fucked many businesses, because it's not just the government hasn't just not supported us with financial stuff. They have in ways, and you have to be grateful that we've been able to get some kind of money anyway. But the understanding, like the amount of cancellations that we've had, even with the hospitality, we were very passionate. We were not passionate, but we were motivated to get that front area working, and we had those things that we did, like Bubblio and the Taverna and stuff like that. But the amount of effort we put in and the shit that we got back was just not worth it. And we're not passionate about it enough to keep pushing that forward. Like, if it was working and we were able to find a system and like, you know, it still had that community aspect of what we do within the barbershop, of course we would love it. We would just have people that are skilled and liked working in that hospitality world running it. We still would have continued that. But this whole past year, for many business owners that we've spoken to, has been tough. It's been more tough than just owning a business. Like, I would like to believe that if Corona, like this pandemic didn't happen, the lockdowns didn't happen, we would be in, of course, a different position, financially, mentally, everything. Because when we were about to open the shop, we had these expectations of how we wanted to run things. Or not so much expectation, but these goals and ideas that we wanted to execute on, but were shut down because of these lockdowns. Like, when we're doing the hair and makeup in here and stuff like that, we were very passionate about doing that. But the amount of people get, like, the lockdowns and the cancellations of events and stuff like that, it just didn't work. We're very lucky that the barbershop was already established just before the lockdown, which is great. Yeah. I think if we started a barbershop fresh, we would have been fucked.
Yeah.
We would have been like 3 months in, we've been like,
yeah, okay, it's regardless. I think the only businesses that haven't had an actual really tough time, like a really, really tough time, are the ones with low overheads and they're not locked into a physical location. Yes. If you're at home and you're doing something, obviously you're still going to be affected by it. But at the end of the day, there's still expenses that have to come out. There's still things that they don't scale with how busy you are. They're there regardless. So, it definitely has been a tough time, and it's just a part of the way things have happened. And we really have to think over, it's almost been a year since we've been opened here, and out of that year, we've been closed for 5 months as a result of lockdown. And obviously people's lives significantly changed with being locked down for that period of time. Even though things are back open and it's like restricted, but not to the same extent, people are still having to get used to and comfortable what is now the new normal. And that's a part of it. We deal with it outside of being here too. Like it's hard to commit to things the same way that we did beforehand.
Yeah. Like, I'm even nervous to go to Queensland next week.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I'm nervous that, like, we're going to get to Friday, Saturday this week, and you shouldn't be able to have that. Like, but even when we get up there, it's like 2 days in, they could be like, all right, we're locking the borders down. We have to get out in 12 hours. It's
exactly
like,
right. Yeah.
Well, fuck, there goes my holiday. The amount of people that have already experienced that is fucked, but even just to be able to, you never used to think like that, ever.
No.
And even the idea of being able to travel overseas feels impossible. Not that we're in a position to travel overseas, but it feels like it's like, holy shit, it used to be so, you just don't remember what it used to be like because it's happened so long ago. But look, that's pretty much the update of what's happening with Civitas here.
Just the roller coaster we're on, isn't it?
Fuck, we choose to be in business, you know. Could have a 9-to-5 job. I mean, no bad to that shit because fuck, you guys are lucky as shit. But we're just exhausted, as you probably can see, probably hear, especially people that are in the barbershop. You probably hear that we are exhausted and we're trying real hard and we're fucking trying, man. We're fucking trying. Because the thing is, what sucks is we can't be ourselves because we're struggling within this situation, what's going on because of the current circumstances. So then doing the podcast here or doing creative things, like we've had so many plans to do community days. That's another thing. Things that we really love to do. Community days, content, videos. We've been so mentally drained and tired that we haven't been able to do the things that we love. And it's like, because the thing is, it's like if we were able to do things that we love, of course, we're not making money off content. That's just the no thing at the moment. So as if we were to do it, it's counterintuitive because it's not helping the business. It's helping the business, but it's not by financially. Because right now it's like the amount of cancellations and the recurring bills and all that kind of stuff needs to be paid. So you need to put the work in to do that. We love cutting hair, which is good. We're very lucky that we have that. But I think if we had continued to doing the front area for ourselves, we would just be putting ourselves into a hole because we're just not passionate about it.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to business, there's obviously a priority that you need to be doing certain things to keep it alive at the end of the day. And it's very hard to justify doing those other things when you know that in the background there's all of these other little things that are eating away. Yeah. And you can't step aside to do these things. Yeah. Even if they're going to have like a long-term effect on the business. If we're filming content or we're getting out there or promoting ourselves, obviously it's going to have a positive impact. But there's a lot of things that we need to do now. We can't just Band-Aid fix it. We need to jump on it and action it and then kind of go from there. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, it is what it is. Anything else you want to chat the shit, lighten anything up? How was the zoo the other day? You went to the zoo. You went to the Roar and Snore.
I slept at the zoo. Was woken up by lions. Got to see some stuff.
Did you fondle with the seals?
No, they were asleep. I couldn't find them.
Oh, hiding away from Jacob. He texted me. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go find the seals and
give him a kiss."
Give him a kiss for sure.
No, it was great fun. It was good. That was cool. It was cool to kind of go and do something that wasn't sitting at home and staying local and getting out. And yeah, it was a bit annoying having to wear a mask everywhere, even though there was no one in the zoo. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to do something somewhat normal. Yeah, it's good to kind of like that's why I'm excited to get away, not necessarily to the Gold Coast just itself. Fucking love a Gold Coast wedding, Gold Coast holiday and wedding. But it's just like the change of perspective. I'm excited to just be in a different environment because the biggest thing that I've learnt from traveling, being lucky enough to travel the world and stuff like that with my dad and myself, being whatever, is different perspectives and environments around the world and how much we, you can be so stuck, especially in the Central Coast. It can be such a fishbowl and you think you're just like in this prison, but then when you talk to people outside of here, the shop, and you talk about your problems and you talk about things that are going on in your own life, people in America are going through the same shit, or like people in England or Greece. And it's like, I've been lucky, go to Greece and you're talking to people that are like literally in a little bumfuck town actually going through business struggles. And it's like, we all go through this shit, and it's just,
it's comforting and it's nice and it's inspiring because it doesn't make things feel as bad as, because it feels like you're gonna fucking die. Like when I found out that the sale fell through, I was angry, I was frustrated, disappointed, not at anyone, just at the situation, and it felt like it was the end of the world. But then I had to stop myself and go, it's just fucking money. In a year's time, things will work out, and we'll probably be in a 10 times better situation. And if I didn't have that perspective and didn't tell myself that, you could be in a very dark place. And I've been there, but it's just not productive, and it just doesn't help. Even if you feel like shit, even if you feel like it is the end of the world, you've got to. What was I saying again?
I don't know. It's very hard to see the other side when you're in this just like pit, and it feels like things just keep getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, you have to be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like you have to try your fucking hardest, and for those people that are out there to like going through some shit, you have to try and be grateful for something. And just put that in perspective. Like I look at myself and be like, okay, sweet. We're in X amount of debt for certain things, but we're also going to get out of debt for certain things. There's a loan that finishes next week that we've paid off in a year, which is fantastic. And that is going to be a bonus to us because it's an extra bit of money per week, which is going to help in the lot. Like it just thinking like that is relief to them feel better. And then even for myself, being lucky enough to be surrounded by, Jacob, Cody and Taylor and the right people and, the people around that, you can speak to and figure things out with. You put those in perspectives, and I'm lucky enough to have a fucking like wife, and these are the things that I'm grateful for. Your things might be different, your things might be like, fuck, I've got a car and I can drive somewhere, or I've got fucking 2 legs and I can walk somewhere. And it sounds fucking trivial, and it's hard to put yourself in perspective where it's just like some people just don't have fucking legs and they can't walk anywhere. Like you have like some people fucking have no fingers, and it's like whatever. But like I don't know, like things like that will give you instant relief, but also that little window to kind of look forward.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need.
I realize you have to really start to think about things logically and not emotionally. It's very easy to sit there and sort of get caught up in that emotion of all these little things happening. And when it feels like everything's against you, it can feel like that's the case. It's not. It's just that you're emotionally not in a good position. So when these little things happen that normally wouldn't be a problem, they feel a lot worse than they are.
Yeah.
But when you think about it logically, it's like, okay, well, me 3 years ago, I'm sure I was going through shit then, but now looking back on it, it's like, oh, that was actually fine, and it helped me get to this position here. It's just hard to project into the future.
Yeah.
Because we're always living in now and not be too anxious and thinking too much about the future.
Because the thing is, like, you feel uncomfortable now and you want to be not uncomfortable.
Yeah, you look for a solution.
But the thing is, like, the amount of uncomfortable feeling, like the thing, what's going to be really fucked up, right, is once this all kind of figures out, there's always going to be issues and problems down the track. There's always going to be problems, but maybe not as uncomfortable as it is right now. But the fucked up thing is when this is all said and done and we start to recover from whatever we're doing, the amount of fucking experience and lessons that we've had in the past year is going to be fucking next level. So then the next thing that we do when we buy something down the track, we know what to look for in certain contracts. We know what to spend things on. If we ever want to open up a fucking bar and a cafe again, we don't. Fuck that. But we know the processes of how to apply for a liquor license, what we can save money on when we open a cafe.
Yeah.
Like, we've learnt all that in the past year, and that is the fucking things that you cannot buy from a course, from fucking talking to people. It's from doing it and experiencing it for yourself. Look, fucking, as I said, take it away you can't take away that it's an uncomfortable feeling. It's a fucking shit feeling. You're not happy. you're definitely not happy. You're not sad, but you're just kind of like, fuck. That's what's going on, mate. Fuck.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah.
You know. Anyway,
Here's what it is. If you have questions, feel free to leave a comment or send us a message or whatever. Like I can see how it could be somewhat confusing, but I think all you need to take away is that we'll still be here. We're still kicking on. We're still making it work. Still cutting hair. If you need if you do need to know what's going on in terms of us, if we are going to move or downscale or whatever, then you'll see it.
You'll see it.
It'll be everywhere.
Or if you're in, come get a haircut. We'll talk about it. We'll keep you up there.
Having a laugh.
Having a laugh. So there's two things I wanted you to check out. Goldblum, these guys right here, fantastic. Do you know what? Their music has calmed me down. They fucking
music.
do really good music. I'm not really into that kind of like surfy beachy kind. It's not surfy beachy, but whatever. But it's cool. It's cool. Thank you. But for anyone that's on the Civitas page right here, please go check out For Humans brand. That is something that we're going to work on this year. Something that we have no, it doesn't cost us anything to do this podcast. It doesn't cost us anything to do, the content that we'll create, which is fantastic. And this is something that we're very passionate about. We just need to sort this shit out first. Then we can focus more on that. Because if we focus more on this content shit, this is fucking... It's just business, man. So go check out the For Humans podcast. We've got a few episodes already done. Oh, if you want to if you want to check out actually in real time when we were stressing or when we were talking about selling the business, go check out episode 2.
I think it's 2. Just listen to them all.
Yeah, listen to them all. It's a good time. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Oh.